Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends, as this video is brought to you by drroto.com.
Hello and welcome to Secondary Assist, our first ever NHL DFS podcast on the Dr. Roto Network. I am Brewery Mark. With me is Tom, the Kickman Kicker. How's it going, Tom?
It's going very good. Just call me Kickman or Kick. Make it easy.
All right. So, it's our first time. I'm sure this will be a little bit rough. Hopefully we'll get a lot of people watching tonight and we'll roll into it. And for anybody watching right now, please like and subscribe. It helps us bring up the numbers and get into the YouTube algorithm, the monster that is the algorithm. So Tom, this we have hockey starting up tomorrow. Last year we had a pretty good run of it, and one thing I found interesting is I'm more of a tournament player. You seem to be more of a cash player, so that makes us a pretty good combination here. How overall did your season go last year?
My season overall was actually very good. I didn't, take any $1 million prizes down, but
Right.
consistently in the cash, and certainly not having to put money back into my account, which is always a good thing.
Yeah. I always play that roller coaster that is tournaments. So I'll go a week with and it seems like I'm just losing money for weeks, and then all of a sudden, bam, I'll hit a 5K pot.
Yeah, you had some pretty good ones last year.
Yeah, I did.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I ended up like 22,000 up for the season.
That's spectacular.
Yeah, it was nice. It was fun too. It was nice getting back into hockey.
Yes. I see. That's all I really ever do is DFS hockey. I don't play. I do some baseball, but no football, and just hockey.
Yeah, my other addiction is NFL showdowns. I know it's crazy. They're the goofiest things, but I just have so much fun trying to figure out which $200 player is going to break the slate.
So now, what's the key to a showdown? And because that's something I've never been really good at, trying to figure out. The captain. Do you spend the money on the captain, or do you try to find the cheap guy as your captain and then build around that?
Now, normally you want to pay up for captain.
Okay.
I look at it as a cash lineup kind of equation. You want the highest floor possible on that captain because he's getting 1.5 times the points.
Okay, so that's why I've been losing all the time, because I try to find a value guy that might pop.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do that, but I don't think it's a successful strategy long term.
It's not.
All right. So, anyways, since it's our first podcast and we're trying to get some people to come and play DFS hockey, it's a very underutilized area in the DFS community. I thought we could start out and talk about some basics. And maybe we make this as part of the show every time we kind of start out with, giving a key piece of information out. So this week I thought about, how do you actually select the team or players that you're targeting?
How I go about it, and we were kind of talking about this prior to the podcast, is I like to go on history, and the big thing is hockey players are streaky. So I like to give like a 30-day period that I'll go over the last 30 days. I pull up all the stats. I find the teams that are scoring, the teams that are giving up goals, and I try to find the teams that are the best team that scores the most goals is playing the team that gives up the most goals. And then depending on if they're home or away, it goes on the line that I'll play. I usually play first lines at home, second lines on the road, just opposite. Second lines at home, first lines on the road. No. First way I said it.
Yeah.
And then, and go that way. And if you find the hot guys, I'll go on, and then I pull up the stats for the last 10 on the teams that I go for. And I try to pick guys, and I don't like to play guys that are negative and not, have their plus minus negative for some reason. I just don't play those guys.
Yeah, and to elaborate on what you're talking about for the listeners, for the line things, in hockey, the home team gets last line change.
Exactly.
So they can match up better. The visiting team has put their line out, then they can put a line who they think will beat that line.
Exactly.
And if you can figure those combinations out, you have a real advantage in DFS. Okay, so you went into a little bit about the stats. On a given night, say it's a five game night, how do you target stuff? For me, from a GPP perspective, the first thing I look at is Vegas lines. I
Yeah,
want
see,
who's favored.
yeah, I for some reason do not look at the Vegas lines. I really go more off the stats where, I pull up who's the best scoring teams, and I just want the teams that are scoring and shooting the most is what because shots are a big
Yeah,
part of DFS. So if you can get a guy that's getting 5+ shots, even if he's scoring, he's getting you 10+ points. So those are the kind of guys I look for when I'm targeting, and then you obviously want to play a line because you get one guy, and then if they're scoring, they score 3-4 goals, and you're going to end up with mega points. You know how it is.
yeah, and that's an important differentiator too, because especially in DraftKings, um, the new scoring rules they put in a couple of years ago, you actually get bonuses for shots.
Yes.
So many shots. What is it, 5 now?
5. It's 5. Yep.
Yeah. As soon as you hit 5 shots, you get bonuses. If you get 3 blocks, you get bonuses.
Hmm.
35 saves for a goalie, you get bonuses. And it's really important to go through the stats and find out who's shooting the puck a lot, who's making those blocks. This is where on DraftKings you might tend to pay up for a goalie.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and I've been there's a couple of thoughts on a goalie. You can either go for the win, and hopefully to get the bonus points for the win, or get a goalie that's going to be in a game that's getting a lot of shots. A team that
Right.
just shoots like crazy. I mean, and even if he gives up 4 goals and doesn't get a win, he might still get 20+ points.
Right. Yeah.
And from
And
your
that's where those
goalie, with your goalie, you're happy with that.
yeah, and that's where those bonuses come in.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I think we have a starting point there for some basics, and we'll expand on this every show. We'll just give a little piece of information out, and we'll keep going. It's the first week. We don't have a lot of stats. we can't really dig into that. You have to use last year's stats.
That's what I did.
Yeah, and just really quick, something that just popped in my head. It's not really on our agenda. Is I haven't seen a free agency period like this in quite a while in hockey. We had a lot of really big names move teams. Big trade between Florida and Calgary. Um, in my opinion, Calgary got the better of that deal. What do you think of that makeup?
Of all the movement, or
Yeah. Who do you think, is Goudreau gonna do better or worse in his new home, that type of thing? Is there any place that you're looking targeting?
well, the biggest thing that it's kind of funny, and that you bring up the trade, was the biggest
Yeah.
movement was my favorite guy was John Klingberg, who I call Kickberg.
Yeah.
He's my favorite defensive guy to play. He went to Anaheim now, and where I think some some experience there at defense, and some of those young players, Anaheim could be one of those teams that we're targeting a lot this season.
Yeah, they got a few injuries here in the preseason with Zegras going down,
Yeah.
but yeah, they're a nice young up and coming team, and I think they're very underrated this year.
Yep. Yep. That's So that was one of my favorite move of the season, because he left Dallas, which I am. Dallas has to probably be probably my most unfavorite team in the NHL.
Unfavorite, but still good for
Hmm.
DFS.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you're a Minnesota guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So when the North Stars went to Dallas, it was not good.
Uh, I love the Wild. I was sad that they lost Fiala, but they still look great.
Oh no, they're gonna be stronger, I think, this year. Yeah, they just hopefully they can get the goaltending situation all solidified. Hopefully Marc-Andre Fleury, can find some of that old magic again. He's obviously not quite the goalie that he used to be, but the Wild, I think, are going to be good this season.
All right, let's kick into the DFS slates. That's what we're here to talk about.
Yep.
So we already had a couple games in Prague, which hey, I made $200 on.
Nice. I didn't play any of those, but you're the showdown guy.
Yeah, they were showdowns. It was interesting to say the least. But so opening night is Tuesday. DraftKings has got some big contests going. If you played preseason DFS, I won a ton of tickets for this game. Tomorrow it's a $15 buy-in. I think I have 10 or 12 tickets for it.
Dang.
It's just a 2-game slate. So what do we got here?
We got Tampa Bay at New York Rangers and Vegas and LA.
So what's your initial thoughts there? Which team should we target top lines for?
Well, I always like the Rangers at home. They're a fun team. But Tampa Bay could also come in, and I looked at that Tampa and Ranger game as to be probably a high scoring game. Looking 5-4, something like that.
See, now I'm almost the opposite because you have the two best goalies in the league, but it's opening night.
Exactly. and Tampa's on the road. It's opening night. I don't know. That's just kind of what I thought. I thought the Vegas LA game was going to be a grind. Probably Vegas coming out on top.
Yeah, LA is another team that I'm big on this year.
I
think they improved a lot.
Right with you. Yep. Now they were good at the end of the season last year too. So they were. I mean, you could just see the steady improvement, and they were a team. I was like, well, they're going to be fun to target next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of with you. I think I'm going to be. Man, I think I'm just going to go with the home teams tomorrow.
Well, that's why I went with New York. I think they're going to be the high scoring team. They're the home team that I think is going to score the most. And if you're looking for contrarian line, maybe the second line of Vegas, Howden, Stevenson, and Stone.
All right, simple enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's quick 2-game slate. So Wednesday we get into the meat. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games.
Yeah, and the top game in this is a simple game. It's nice when they put the best against the worst. That Chicago Blackhawk Colorado Avalanche game.
And it's a national game on TNT, so we all get to watch it. Chicago in Colorado, man. This could literally be an 8-1 game.
Chicago has two of their best defensemen are hurt, will not be in the game. McCabe, so they're down two of their best defense, and their defense isn't good anyway. So I don't think they scored any goals in the last 3 preseason games they played.
No, they don't. It doesn't look like they have a very good farm system. They traded everybody away to try to get the number 1 pick for the next couple of years.
Yeah, well, they do have for the next 3 years, they have 2 picks in each of the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So that's kind of obviously they're set up to maybe do something 10 years from now.
Yep. Right. So what we're saying is load up on Colorado.
Yep. So Colorado. I also like Carolina. Obviously, they're playing Columbus at home, and I like Toronto going to Montreal.
Yeah, that should be a good game too.
Yeah, that should be a pretty high scoring game, I think.
Yeah. Especially Toronto has so much to prove. Every year they just choke in the playoffs.
I don't understand it, but they do.
Yeah. Doesn't matter who's the coach, who's the players, they just choke it all away. I thought for sure they were going to cruise by Tampa last year.
No, that did not happen.
So I'm looking at this, and for the listeners, we don't have any pricing yet for DFS. The sites have not let it leak out yet. Usually, DraftKings is usually a week ahead of time. But for some reason they just haven't put anything out but Tuesday yet. So we're going off of data that we have preseason and off of our experiences from last year. I'm looking at this and I'm kind of eyeballing these late games.
Okay.
Seattle at Anaheim.
Well, I like that game too. That Anaheim was going to be my fourth team. Yeah, I like that game a lot.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
And Vancouver at Edmonton.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, that's going to be fun.
Exactly.
Those teams hate each other.
No, that's a fact. And yeah, that'll be interesting.
Can McDavid do the can he take the scoring title this year?
I don't think so. No, I don't think he does. But he's just going to score a lot of goals. That's for darn sure.
All right.
I'll be curious to see how Holloway plays.
Yeah. Anything else on the Wednesday slate that kind of stands out?
No. Just I love Colorado, Carolina. You play their first line, and Toronto second line.
And what about goalie? So last year, my biggest struggle was goalie. I never could pick a goalie.
Yeah, I get a daily text from you on that. Who do you like on goalies tonight? No, it's probably end up going with the Toronto goalie, if whoever ends up starting that night. I think that's
this might be a case where even though Colorado will probably put up 60 shots, we might not want to play Chicago's goalie because they're going to score way too much.
Right, and then you don't want to play the Colorado goalie because I don't think they're going to get enough shots.
Yeah, that's a very good point that we didn't talk about earlier. Is teams like Chicago where they have no offensive firepower. Even though you're going for the win, you're not going to get enough shots to make that goalie worth it.
Yeah, so that's why I look at that. I don't think they're going to shoot enough. I just like you said. So that's why I think there's going to be a lot of shots in that Toronto Montreal game. I like Toronto on that side of the game. Who's ever going to start there? I don't. It's with goalies. I don't like to shout out goalie names this early because it can change a half an hour before the game.
Yeah. Yeah, and for our listeners, the point of this podcast, we're going to do this every Monday, and it's kind of a preview of the matchups coming up, and we'll have better data as the season goes on, especially these weekend slates. But on the flip side too, if you go to drroto.com, sign up. We have some really good deals going on. We also have a private Discord for all subscribers, and me and Kick, we sit in that Discord every night. And we answer any questions that you have all the way up to puck drop. A lot of times we're even up for the late games. So if you have some questions for the late slates, we'll be there to ping it out.
I'm always up for the late slates. That's usually my favorite. One reason I like to play late slates too, just because I usually get to see those games. So it's fun to watch what your players play.
Yeah. And man, I'm so happy that ESPN Plus exists.
Oh, it's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah,
to get around that to watch games. I enjoy it.
So come over to drroto.com, subscribe, join us in the Discord. We also do daily cheat sheets. Kick is going to be doing the weekdays. I'm going to be doing the weekends, and we'll swap as we need to. But we had a lot of winners last year coming off these cheat sheets.
Yeah, our cheat sheets will get you set up so that you can put lineups together quite quickly. You don't have to sit and read. We're doing the research for you. So, I watch so many hockey games, it's kind of silly, but that's, watching is sometimes the best thing. Sometimes you see a guy a night that takes 5 shots and he doesn't get shots because 4 of them went off the post, and you go, that guy you want to play because he's on.
Right.
You
Yeah,
see
it's
little
just a matter
things
of a
like
couple
that.
inches more.
Yep.
All right, so let's head into Thursday night.
Thursday night. There's some good games Thursday too.
How many do we have?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9?
Yeah, so we're getting into that upper
10 games.
10 games. So
Yeah.
my wheelhouse, I really like 8 games.
Yeah.
So we're
no, I
just a
do
little
too.
bit.
Yeah, I'm with
Just
you. I like
yeah.
the just a little tighter slates. It just, because there's always a wild card. You get that 14 game slate, and I mean, all of a sudden Buffalo scored 10 goals, and you're like, what?
All right, so a quick look at Thursday here, and we'll just let me just run it down really quick. We
Yeah.
have Arizona at Pittsburgh, New Jersey at Philly, Ottawa at Buffalo. Ooh, Ottawa's looking good. Florida at the Isle, Washington and Toronto, the Rangers at your Wild, Dallas and Nashville, the Avalanche go to Calgary, the Blackhawks at the Golden Knights. I think we'll target that one. And
yeah, there's a big
this should be a
circle
fun
on that
game.
on my paper here.
Yeah. The late game is Seattle at Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So, initial thoughts.
I like Pittsburgh at home against Arizona. I mean, Arizona's going to be better than last year because they can't be any worse. I mean, giving up almost 4 goals a game last year, 3.77 goals a game they gave up last season. I mean, it was just like you looked at the slate. You didn't have to look at the line. You didn't have to look at any stats. You went, oh, who's Arizona playing tonight? I'm going to play their best guy. It was pretty easy. I like this New Jersey Philadelphia game. I think I like New Jersey. I like that side of it. And then you mentioned the Buffalo Ottawa game. That the Buffalo side to that could be pretty good too. So that could turn out to be a really good game.
Yeah, I don't think we have Vegas lines for this yet, but I expect that to be a pretty high scoring game.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, neither team is going to be in the upper echelon of defense. Goalies are questionable still for both teams. Yeah, we could easily see a lot of scoring from multiple lines.
Yeah, that's what I think. Tage Thompson and the top line of Buffalo, I like there. And I don't think they're going to be highly owned.
No, there's too many other plays I think people gravitate to. Because you have Florida. Everybody's going to be playing Florida, Toronto, the Rangers, right?
Yep. But the Rangers are playing Minnesota, so I'd look for Minnesota not to give up too many goals at home. But, the Vegas game with Chicago. Vegas has dominated Chicago over. I mean, I think the Blackhawks have only beaten Vegas once since Vegas has been around. Could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty close. Not many more than that. So that could be a good game to target too.
So what about the Rangers Minnesota game? Is that a good place to maybe play Fleury?
A good place to play Fleury and a good place to play Mark Zuccarello. I like to play guys that are playing their former teams. And, Zook plays on the top line. Not a bad place. He's not as expensive as Kaprizov. And, he's got a little extra to play there for.
Nice. Yeah. I'm going to be watching that game.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely be watching it.
That's a fun one.
Yeah. No, I like to play Rangers too. I mean, I like to play Panarin. He's one of my favorite guys to play.
And he always comes in pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's not expensive. You can play him and one of his line mates, and you can usually score some points.
And he's always up on the top power play unit, even though he's the
Yeah.
second line.
And that's something else you want to point out too, that when you're picking guys, you want to get guys that are on the top power play line, second power play, but you want guys that are going to be out there when the teams are on the power play. They just score more goals when they're on the power play, so it makes it kind of obvious.
It increases their chance of getting shots, getting assists, getting goals. More time in the power play, the better.
Yep.
And it's a good way to correlate stuff too, because in the modern NHL, there's a lot of goal scoring defensemen, and they're super expensive. And sometimes you need to look for that second defenseman, but he's on a power play.
Exactly. Well, that's why. Oh, and I usually like to play Makar and then Klingberg because I can get him cheap, and he can get you 4 or 5 shots in a game when he's healthy and playing well. So he's my weakness. Is for whatever reason I just play John Klingberg all the time.
Well, at the right price, he quarterbacks power play.
Yeah, so
he was always good for a few shots and an assist.
Yeah, that's what I always figure. So, and he's not that expensive, so it's fun, And then I can couple him with how can you not want to play Cal McCarr? I also like to play Quinn Hughes a lot. I got certain, I got certain defense, defense that I just play. It's doesn't matter if they're a team I'm targeting or not. I just play them. Adam Fox. I mean, how can you not want to play him?
The only reason I can think of is price.
Yeah, not exactly, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, Quinn Hughes is always priced pretty good.
Yeah, he is, and surprisingly so, for as effective as he is.
Yep.
Let's see what else we got here on this slate.
Yeah, who do you like?
I keep eyeballing that Rangers Minnesota game. I just have a feeling it's going to be, if anything, high shots, right?
Yeah. Well, both those teams score a lot of goals, so
yeah. So that's a great place to get some stacks going. Man, Washington didn't really do anything to improve their team this year, and they just look so old.
No, they were horrible last year. I mean, like you say, they were so old, slow.
Yeah, they're slow.
Yep.
And so they're heading into Toronto. And as we talked about before, Toronto's got something to prove.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing like new guard, old guard scenarios. Everybody wants to take Ovechkin down. And it's home, man. That top line there.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot. You go, the Bunting, Matthews, Marner line.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'm right with you. They were the top scoring team. They're the top scoring team from last year on this slate. They had averaged 3.8 goals a game last year. So I mean, and I look at they're always a shoo-in for 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 4's that's a good night, but you want a team scoring 5-6 goals.
Yeah,
that's always
well, they could. I mean, Washington's defense doesn't look all that great. They have question marks at goalie.
No, Mark, I'm right with you. I'm right with you there.
I mean, they brought in Kumper, right? But
yeah,
he still doesn't look right. I was watching him in preseason. That eye just doesn't. He still doesn't look right.
Yeah.
And then I keep going, man. I'm really high in LA. That Seattle and LA game is another one that I'm going to load up some GPPs where I have a lot of kings in them because I love that late night hammer.
Right. No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I like to play the late night games because those are the times when I can sit down and watch because the house is up finally calm around here and I can watch whatever hockey game I want. And you're flipping around all night long.
Yeah. Exactly.
I saw Seattle play a lot last year. I saw LA, Anaheim. I watched a lot.
Yeah, I ended up with I watched a ton of Seattle and Calgary. They always seem to be the late teams.
Yes, yeah.
And man, I feel like I know the announcers and everybody.
Well, that's what's kind of fun about it. I love listening to the hometown announcers. I mean, no better way to get to know a team and what's going on with the team to listen to sometimes the analysis that you hear from the hometown stuff that you're not hearing on the national. It's
Yeah.
there's it's like me getting the coverage for the Blackhawks here, you getting your coverage for the Red Wings at home. I mean, it's just more localized. You hear more, it's just better.
Yeah, and what I do, at least on ESPN Plus, the nice thing is they give you both feeds, right?
Yeah, no, it's the best.
So I usually select whoever's the home team. That's usually the feed I will watch.
Yeah, there's some announcers I don't like, so I don't listen to them.
Oh, I get that. Yeah. The Pittsburgh announcers, oh my God, they're such whiny crybabies.
Oh. Now, I will say the radio announcer for Edmonton calls a fight better than I've ever heard anybody call a fight. I mean, he is blow by blow. It's some good stuff when you listen to him on the radio. I don't know his name, but he was really good.
No, okay. I'll have to pay attention.
Yeah, I mean, I was just amazed. I was like, wow, he sure likes to describe the fight, and he does a good job with it.
All right. Any final thoughts that you have on this Thursday night slate?
No, I think we hit on. I was saying I like that Jersey. I like Jersey going into Philadelphia. Andre Palat's there now, so him and Quinn, or not him, and him and Jack Hughes could score some goals that night. I think both going to be on the power play too. Philly usually gives up a lot of power plays.
All right.
Yeah, so that would be my kind of sleeper kind of line.
Okay. All right, so let's jump into Friday really quick. And I like Friday because my Red Wings finally get to play.
Isn't that crazy? Not till Friday.
Yeah. But they welcome the Montreal Canadiens into Little Caesars Arena. So I think that's a good place to target. You have two young teams. That should be a fast-paced, lots of shots. I can totally see myself stacking both first lines in that game.
I could see. Yeah, I'm just trying to pull up the slate. I don't have that slate written down.
Yeah, sorry. I noticed. That's my fault. I saw Detroit on there, so I had to stop it.
I like that, Mark. That's okay. That's all good.
Yeah, it's just a tiny little 4-game slate. We have
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I didn't write it down.
Montreal at Detroit, Tampa at Columbus, Rangers at Winnipeg, Carolina at San Jose.
Ooh, there's some good games there. Carolina going into, that's right. I did see that one. When I looked at it, I saw Carolina probably be the team you're going to want to play there going into San Jose. They're already down. They already have 2 losses.
Yeah, and they did not look good in those losses.
No, not at all. And they didn't look good last year either. So they're obviously going to be another team that you can target all this time to play against. But yeah, so in Carolina, they're just good anyway.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens when they get Pacioretty back.
That'll be good.
Man, Tampa at Columbus. So this is the first time we're talking about Columbus, who scored probably the biggest name free agent and threw him out of line with Patrick Laine.
That's awesome. That line's going to be a great line, but the whole problem is they don't have any defense. They still give up almost 4 goals a game. So, I mean, yeah, they'll be a fun team to stack that line, play that line. It's also going to be an expensive line to play.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah. But they'll also be good to stack teams against because they give a lot of goals still. At least that's what I think is going to happen.
All right, so thank you for the pit stop there.
No, that was
Let's
all good.
roll.
But I did look at it. I just didn't write it down. So, and then after you mentioned the Carolina game, that was like the one that just stood out to me.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So let's roll into the weekend here. And we have Saturday, which is a
Oh
what we
my!
count
I
massive
think 16 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games.
14 games. So I'm not even going to read them all. There's too many to read. Do you have any particular strategy for attacking a slate like this? Do you try
Well,
to
yeah.
break it up between early and late, or?
Well, sometimes I'd like to do that a lot, actually. I'd like to play an early slate and split them up that way. Yes, just because it just makes it easier. You can get to more teams. Yeah, I like that a lot, Mark.
Okay. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was thinking. You get these big slates and it's just like, what do you do? Especially you have some really good combinations. So you have LA and Minnesota.
yeah,
You have the Red Wings at the Devils, Florida, Buffalo. We've already talked about the high scoring how high scoring a game like that could be.
yep. You
Um,
have
Ottawa,
Montreal.
Toronto.
Yes. Columbus, St. Louis at home with Columbus coming in. Another good. St. Louis is another one to target. Matter of fact, I think they're the top team out of that whole slate.
St. Louis?
Yeah.
Hey,
Even
San Jose might get their first win when
I know.
Chicago comes to town.
I saw that. I was like, you don't look for Chicago or San Jose to target this week because they're playing each other on Saturday.
Oh man, then the late game is awesome. Calgary at Edmonton.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, all those games. That's why it's fun to the late games because they're always those East Coast or West Coast teams, and they're good fun teams to watch. Like Calgary, I love Tyler Toffoli. He's always one of my favorite guys. You can get him at a nice cheap price.
Yeah, and for our listeners too, I just want to point out this is all the way to Saturday, so this is almost a week away. We have no pricing. It's first week of the season. We don't really have any stats. The first couple weeks of the season, line combinations change constantly. So you just got to be careful. And this is a case where if you go over the Dr. Roto, get an account, come into the Discord, we'll give you up to date information on Saturday and how to target these slates.
Yeah, Mark will have a great breakdown. You could probably break it down by a couple of the slates that are going that day. I'm not sure how Mark will break it down, but your cheat sheet on Saturday will be one I want to see.
Yeah, it'll be massive. I might have to start it like Thursday.
For sure.
Any other games that stand out here that we think we're going to be targeting?
Well, I like your Red Wings going into New Jersey, Vancouver going into Philly. Those two games I like.
So I'm not expecting Philly to be good this year.
No, that's what I'm saying. They're going to give up goals. They gave a lot last year. They're going to give up a lot this year. Vegas going into Seattle.
What do you think of that new Seattle mascot?
I haven't seen it.
It's this little devil baby thing.
I'll have to check it out. I haven't seen it.
It's really weird.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, I haven't seen it yet. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, they just announced it like last week.
Okay.
I don't know if they're trying to, do another gritty or what, but
wow. It's that bad, huh?
it looks like it kind of looks like Count Chocula had a baby with an octopus.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good at all.
All right, so And Sunday we have no games.
Yep, nope. That's good. I got a lot of football games I got to watch that day.
Yeah, I'm sure they do that intentionally this time of the year.
Yeah, well, that's smart.
Yeah, I think even on Saturday, I think I might even do a showdown on that Calgary-Edmonton game. That game's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait for that game.
Yep, nope. Calgary. Yeah, that's actually, and I like Calgary on the Calgary side on that too. So I like them a lot. Yeah, top line. Actually, no, the second line probably. There's some good value you probably get on that line too. Dubé and Kadri, Majapani.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how Kadri fits in. And, that also brings up Colorado. Colorado might have a rough start here. You have Langeskog's out for a couple of weeks. They lost Kadri. They lost Borowski.
Oh yeah, but they got some, Rodriguez and Newhook showed some good signs last year. Nichushkin. So their second line is not bad. They got some good players, and then Makar is just all world. So he's like another forward plus, and he plays defense. It's just the kid is good. I like to watch him play a lot.
Yeah, he's one that I sacrifice like a winger spot to play him.
Yeah, definitely.
He's that good.
You got to find some value, and you find the value, and then you plop him in, and he's usually worth every penny you pay.
Awesome.
He has some bad nights, but he gets a lot of 5-shot nights. And then he'll get at the worst a couple assists, but then he's shooting on the power play all the time. Yeah, I mean, I like him a lot.
Yeah, he doesn't hesitate at all either.
No, not even a little bit. I mean, he's up there. He's shooting. Yeah, he's a good ball. He's a good hockey player. I was gonna say ball player. He doesn't play ball.
All right, so I think we've gone through the entire first week here. So it's our first podcast. How do we do?
I think we did okay, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think we put some information out there that people can use. I think we gave people an idea where we're coming from when we're putting our stuff on paper and they're reading our cheat sheets. So,
yeah, and just to emphasize it again, the cheat sheets are great, and we're going to give you, our favorite lines, our favorite goalies, and then give you a list of basically a player pool to pull from. But it's also important to supplement that with that Discord channel where we can actually target more values and tell you how to match things up.
Yep.
All right. Any last thoughts about this first week?
Nope. I just want to watch some hockey. I want to get this week under our belt so that next week we got something to talk about and, some hot players and somebody that we had no idea was going to be unbelievable we'll be talking about.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait. I've watched the whole preseason. It's been great. All right. For Kickman, I am Brewery Mark. You can reach us over at drroto.com, and we'll see you in a week.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.